They moved her to a guest room, and then they started thinking back, well, when did she give up volleyball? When did she stop doing certain things? And they timed it back to when they had changed the ampage or some electrical thing in their house. And so they went to the expense of burying the power lines. So that's the first thing I would look at. And then I would also look at the idea of the commanding position. Are you able to see the door from your bed? If your back is, or if you're on the door wall, then someone can come in and see you before you see them. So that's good for your bed, your desk, and your stove. It's most important, I think, at work because
the commanding position.
Because when your back is to the door, or you're not able to see what's going on, or who might be coming in this mouth of chi, the doorway, you're using up some of your valuable energy preparing for an interruption from behind. So we don't want you to feel vulnerable. Feng Shui is making you feel you're most supported and at your optimum in your environment. So we try to turn people around, back on a solid wall, facing out, not in direct line with the door, because then you get drawn out.
Too much chi.
You get drawn, yes. A little, any child with a little bunk bed at the end of that, and the doorway's there, he keeps his door closed. We know that. If the bed is just a catty corner from the door, out of the direct path of energy, that's a good thing. And then, of course, is that your best direction? If you're not sleeping well, then you might consider changing the direction of the bed, too.
And what about high-rises? You ever done any work in high-rises?
I live in one, in Chicago, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And so does that like correlate to like living in the mountains? Or how do you work Feng Shui in a high-rise?
You have something of what we call the neighbor problem once in a while. Neighbors who are noisy above you, neighbors down below who are poking on the ceiling, all of those things. Or neighbor next door, I happen to have a man who smokes. I've sealed everything off, but I still put a bagua mirror. Do you have a bagua?
Yeah, I'll pull that stuff
out. The bagua mirror will reflect and send the energy back where it came from. That's our most effective cure. It's a little octagon-shaped mirror.
I'll pull it out now.
That has the trigrams of the I Ching on it.
I'll hold it up here.
Okay, that of all the Feng Shui cures is the one I get the most feedback from because people notice a change almost immediately.
And is the shape important and these lines? Talk a little bit about the shape, the lines. You already spoke about the reflection of the mirror.
Well, the octagon itself is a very powerful shape. It's what they do the pagodas and some of the more spiritual buildings. But the trigrams of the I Ching are on there, and they're arranged in a balancing order that does something. We can use an octagonal mirror, but it won't be quite the same as this cheap little mirror with these trigrams. It deflects energy. It does not create energy. It does not create any bad energy or anything. It merely sends back to the way you're pointing it.
Oh boy, I'd like to put one of these in the back of my car.
I carry them in my car all the time, but that's for another reason. But yes, it sends the negative energy back where it came from.
And what is this called again?
A bagua. B-A-G-U-A mirror.
And bagua mirror. And people can purchase on the internet or...
Off Chinatowns, yes. But if you place it facing the problem area, I had a lady in Northbrook who had constantly, she was feeling, hearing the train go by. We put one on her balcony and she started sleeping all night through. She hadn't slept in a year all night through since she'd moved there. But, placebo, I don't think so, because I could tell you stories until midnight about this mirror and some of the feedback I've gotten from it.
And do you know if there's been any research done on the effectiveness of the bagua mirror?
It's been around a long time, Jay. I don't know.
Well,
it was actually the mirror that Bruce Lee had on his tree in Hong Kong that was protecting him from the handshake curse, and then it fell off the tree. He got a headache, and this is documented by Malcolm Forbes, who wrote a book, They Went That Away, about how famous people died. And The mirror fell off. He asked for something for his headache. Got a headache immediately. Somebody gave him a prescription drug. He was allergic to it, swelled his brain, and he died. So
Wow.
that's all the guys in Tai Chi kind of know that as the Bruce Lee mirror. But,
Oh, okay.
but it's had some.
Now here's
considerable study.
another mirror, but this wasn't. If you can focus in on this.
This is like
Jennifer?
the mirror for the baby in the back seat, you know, to help you see behind as you're driving, to watch the kids in the back. This one, though, was created for computers. It says, caution, busybodies in the mirror may be closer than they appear. So it's just so that if you're sitting there in a cube space or up against a wall and everybody's walking around behind you, you can see them, and you know that you can see them, so then you can totally concentrate on your work.
Okay.
So
That's a.
you can get those in just any building or a store,
Now,
children's store.
I notice, like for example, the Chinese, the Olympics is going on. They're wearing red, and you see a lot of red in Chinese restaurants. Is there any significance to the color red?
Well, it's basically the most auspicious color. Reds and even it's so red it's purple, you know. But it's a fire element. It's energizing. It's a color for fame on the bagua. It represents the fame and good luck and fortune.